This past year has been probably the most difficult since I started running the business on my own, really. To think that the solo frame builder model is broken, really. Drifted in recent years, and perhaps how the bespoke show has also been a part of that. Or we're finished. It's a bit like what Richard Sachs has said to me on a few occasions, that it's been a while since I was last on YouTube, and I've been meaning to make this video for quite a while now. This past year has been probably the most difficult since I started running the business on my own, really. Over the last 12 months I've suffered with quite a bit of illness, and that's led to me getting quite far behind on some of my work, and that has also led to a lot of burnout as I've been trying to catch up. And of course some customers have suffered because of that. Lead times have extended, and I've struggled to keep up and keep people updated. And it's not because I've meant to go silent or anything, it's just that as you get behind, the weight and the guilt of not being able to deliver what you said you were going to do on time, it really starts to get to you. And it got to the point where I had a few customers who were not very happy with me, understandably, as I'd gone a bit silent on them. And it's not because I don't care about their projects or anything. It's just because I literally have taken on too much work. Because when you've been off work for a few weeks or so as a one-man band, it takes a massive toll, because you get quite a long way behind just within a couple of weeks. And of course you've still got to pay the bills, and you've got to pay your suppliers and things, and that then pulls you in another direction, because you're still trying to get the work in, so you've got more work down the pipeline, and that stacks up, and that just leads to burnout and false promises and things like that, which obviously I'm not proud of. It's not what I wanted to do. At the beginning of this year I wanted to make sure that I took things in a bit of a new direction, and gave myself some kind of buffer against this kind of thing. And I realised that I can't just rely on my labour week in and week out to basically pay everything in the business, because the minute you have any illness or you're incapacitated or anything, leads to quite catastrophic problems, really, because you end up so far behind just by taking a few weeks off to look after your health. Because you're expected to build frames, run a business, take photos, videos, do social media, do outreach, market yourself everywhere, answer emails, deal with customer service. I mean, there's just so much pulling in so many different directions. Frame building is quiet and focused, and running a business is loud and unrelenting, and the two don't really mix that well. It's rare that someone has a personality that can handle both equally, and clearly I struggle with that. I'm much better at the quiet and contemplative than I am at handling communication and social media and everything else. And it's led me to think that the solo frame builder model is broken, really. We've all seen how many solo frame builders have quit in the last 15 years. Some probably because they didn't really have the skills to back up what they were trying to do, and others that were talented but just ran into burnout. I'm not quitting. I've built a plan, the One Lug at a Time project, and that includes writing a book on frame building, but not just like the books that have gone before. I really believe in the apprenticeship system, so I really want to write a book that takes an aspiring frame builder through a complete apprenticeship in frame building and using the traditional methods, and hopefully it'll also be useful to any builders that want to take on an apprentice, which is another thing that I'm really keen to try and get people to do. So the project started off really as a book on frame building, but it has since really progressed into an oral history project in order to capture the voices from the workshops. It's surprising how many frame builders from the classic era are still around and their voices haven't been heard, or at least many of them haven't. And so my plan is to capture some of their wisdom through interviews and then use that in the book in order to help and inspire aspiring frame builders. And I've set up a Patreon project where I'm looking for 125 paying Patreons, and that will allow me to go off and do the oral histories and write the book and write up things. And in return for that, those Patreons will get access to the draft writing and the interviews as I do them. I think this project has actually evolved now into something that's really important to the history of British frame building. And although the first book that I was thinking of doing was a book on frame building and a bit of a sort of an apprenticeship on paper, with the amount of people that have already signed up to contribute to the oral histories, I imagine I'm going to probably have to write another book just on British frame building in general, probably from 1948 to 1987 or something like that, to sort of encompass most of that classic era of British frame building, in order to try and preserve traditional frame building, the skills, try and capture the voices of basically a whole generation of frame builders that are either in retirement or coming up to retirement, because if we don't do this soon, there's not really going to be another chance. And that knowledge and expertise and experience won't be there to pass down to a next generation of frame builders. And yeah, some newer frame builders say that doesn't matter and lug frame building's obsolete, but it does kind of forget the fact that a lot of British frame builders don't just build frames, they also work in the restoration and repair side of the business, which is the one side where even less skills have been transferred. I think we also need to talk a little bit about how the trade has drifted in recent years, and perhaps how the bespoke show has also been a part of that. There has been a sort of drift away from the commercial side of frame building, which although is great for creativity and inclusivity, and I don't have any problem with that, British frame building still needs a core of successful commercial career frame builders, because without it the supply chain will disappear. People like Reynolds Technology can't survive on just vibes and enthusiasm. They need firm orders for tubing and things. And yes, okay, they've got much bigger customers around the world than maybe what they have in the UK. But with the way the current climate of tariffs and things are going, we're in a really uncertain time, and some solidarity from the British frame building community would probably really help right now. And then you've got people like Peter Evans at Seaway, who is an absolute stalwart of the industry. Again, without him and his knowledge and his connections that he's built up over decades, what's going to happen to all the parts? People need to be ordering parts in sufficient quantities so that the suppliers that supply Peter still continue to produce the parts. And we've seen in the last, 12 18 months or so that Longshen, who basically made most of the lugs available, with most of the cast lugs, decided that the bike industry isn't really viable anymore. And luckily we've had other people or other companies that have stepped into that gap, but that might not continue to happen forever. In fact, Richard Sachs has often pointed out to me that without the materials, talking about frame building is academic. And so my next level of the Patreon project is to get to 225 patrons, and then that will enable me to start working on some new parts available to everybody, basically. So, you know, things like new bottom bracket shells, new fork crowns, new lug sets, all that work with the geometry that we're using now, you know, the bottom bracket heights, the extra clearance for tyres that we need. And that process will be on the Patreon, so all the patrons will see how that takes place and how the designs develop, and they can, you know, give input once any new parts have been cast. They will be available for everybody in the business. Not something I want to keep as an exclusive for me. You know, we need those suppliers, or we're finished. It's a bit like what Richard Sachs has said to me on a few occasions, that, you know, it reminds him the signs on farms around where he lives, where it says no farms, no food. Well, it's the same, isn't it? It's no frame building materials, no frame builders. Lug frame building would be much easier for people if we had more parts available that suited modern bike components. At the moment we're working off castings that were developed in the 1980s, and we're adapting those to make them work, or we're using parts that were made for TIG welding or production frames. And that's all very well and good, but it's making lug frame building harder. Also, aspiring builders shouldn't feel left out either, as I'm going to be putting a lot of teaching content onto my Patreon. So not only will you be able to get the book chapters as I write them, so I'll still be doing videos for YouTube, but I'm going to do extended videos for Patreon for people that really want to spend a bit more time looking at my techniques and the processes that I use, because often I get that in the comments that people would like to watch longer videos, but the YouTube algorithm doesn't always reward those longer videos, so they will be on Patreon. And also, of course, there'll be no adverts as well, which is always a good bonus. And you'll find all the details about my Patreon in the video description below. So if you want to get involved, please join the Patreon. If you don't want to join the Patreon and you still want to help spread the message, share this video, comment below what you think, and tell as many people about this project as you can. Thanks for listening.